Ooh, yeah. They're not really treating it too much.
I called yesterday and asked if they had valet up front because the garage is like behind the hotel, behind the plaza.
Yeah.
They said that's the only way in, but they've been treating it every day. So it was fine this morning when I left. So it's been great. It's been, the hotel's been awesome.
That's good. Glad to do that.
Our power grid situation made the Washington Post.
Yeah, hey Ty, it made the USA Today last night too. It's a lead story.
Cray.
Ty, how are you doing?
Good. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Have you been out in it?
No. The wife went down the street because the 5-year-old's BFF wanted to come over. So she's been the only one that's really gotten out in the last day or so.
Yeah. It's not as good today as it was yesterday. I can tell you that. I had to leave and drive about a mile up away from my house to do a meeting this morning at 9:30 because we lost power. And I don't have good cell service at my house. And it's not as, yesterday it wasn't really that bad. Today is not that good. Getting some questions in here already. Have you lost power, Ty?
I'm embarrassed to say we have not lost power at all, and I don't know how or why we've been able to be so lucky. But we've kept the thermostat at about 64, so it's chilly in here, but not as chilly as everybody else.
Yeah, that's good. Hi, Bob.
Hey, what's up?
How are you doing? Do you guys have power back yet?
We have had a night full of optimism. We've
all right.
gone out 3 times for about 30 minutes each, but it almost feels regularly scheduled now because it goes off at the top of an hour and it goes back on roughly at the bottom of an hour about every 4 hours.
Oh, so you have it on for 4, off for 30 minutes, or you just think?
It feels like that's the pattern since about 10 o'clock last night.
Okay.
So I'm going to have a possible decision to make here before too long for tonight.
Hey, Corby.
Hi, Jeff.
Hey, do you think the canals are frozen? Because I want to find some place where I can put my skates on and take my stick out.
I literally got I'm not joking, like 10 minutes ago, got a note from the lady who bought my parents' house with pictures of it being frozen.
You think it'll hold up about 170 pounds?
It held up to 10 70-pounders in 1980.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
0 degrees, definitely. You were good. That thing's frozen solid.
You only need a few inches.
That's it.
That's what she said.
That's what she said. My pool will work too if you want.
Is your pool frozen?
Oh yeah.
Mr. Dew sent me some photos. His pool is frozen and it's got chunks of ice floating in it, and his pool gear, whatever, that he had it running and all that, but it's all, it looks like just a mess.
Yeah, I've had heat lamps on mine. I feel bad even saying that because I'm destroying the grid with heat lamps. But
awesome.
Travis, you with us?
I am here.
All right.
Hi, Travis.
Hey, Corby.
Well, I see some questions are coming in and participants are rolling into this too, but we can go ahead and get started. And thanks for everybody for joining us, not only Hardline proper here, but I'm also speaking to the folks that signed up to participate in our Pour One Out for Ticketstock Zoom room today. The format is super simple. You can raise your hand on Zoom here, or you can type in the chat box, and Travis Ohl, our promotions director, is the moderator. He will bring you guys onto the screen to ask your question and keep things moving along for Bob and Corby and Danny and Ty Walker Chicken and Mino are all here, and we'll kind of roll with this for the next 45 minutes or so, provided everybody's power holds as you're hearing us talk about what our own situations are today, just like I'm sure all of you are dealing with it too. So thanks for being with us today. Thanks for doing this. And I'm going to turn it over to Travis, unless Corby or Bob, you have something that you want to say to start things off.
No, just thanks for joining us. I mean, this is, a weird week and the weirdest of all years. So we appreciate the patronage and appreciate you guys being interested enough to hang out with us today and during the show and all that good stuff. So we appreciate it.
Absolutely. Wish we could all get together, but things keep happening on top of things. So let's make the best of the latest from Zoom or wherever. Is it Zoom? Shout out to Zoom.
Zoom, yeah. I was thinking about this morning. You talk about because since we always talk about sports, I'm thinking about this in terms of like team identity, and this team, has this identity or whatever. I just was thinking about the ticket identity this morning, and like we're just resilient. If we can't be knocked off the air from a pandemic when there's no sports, and then a winter storm blast on top of that, nothing can stop us. Like literally, nothing can stop us from doing what we do. And I think that's a pretty good quality to have.
I agree.
We're there.
I agree.
All right, Travis, roll with it.
All right, y'all ready? So basically the way it'll work, if you're an attendee and you want to ask a question, just click on the Q&A button in the Zoom. It's at the bottom if you're on a computer, and I'll pull you up as a panelist. So right now we've got Randall Pitts. I'm pulling him up to ask his question. First one, it takes a second to get it rolling, so give me just a moment. See.
Danny, when there's a lull, I'm going to jump back here and do some double bass rolls.
Okay.
All right, Randall, you with us?
Do some blast beats. Randall died.
Uh-oh.
Damn it,
no.
Randall.
Shout out to Randall.
Classic Randall.
Let me pull up a different one real fast.
What if
We'll
he
go
froze?
with Shauna.
Shauna.
Unmute, Shauna.
Did this go off without a hitch yesterday?
It takes a second to get rolling.
The first couple of people, you have to unmute, and then once you get rolling, it seems to work pretty well. There she goes.
Can you see me, guys? Can you hear me?
Can hear
Yes.
you.
Hey,
Okay. I can't see me or hear me, so I'm just guessing that you guys can.
We hear
Sorry,
you.
Shake voice. So my question is this. First of all, I just want to say I love this new Hardline way more than I thought I would. I know that's like a backhanded compliment, but I was really worried. I was just really worried. And so I love hearing Bob's voice. I love all of that. My question is to Corbett and Dingo. Were you pissed when Rhines pulled that Irish exit? I mean, you guys are such a close team. You've been through so much. We lost Grego. We survived that. Were you pissed? Because I was pissed. I don't even work with the guy, and I was pissed. How did you guys feel?
Go ahead, Corby.
That's a very
There's Danny's
complicated
answer.
question, Shauna. It's very complicated, but I would say when I was told that he was quitting, at the very beginning, I was very pissed that he didn't tell us on that day that he actually left, which was December 10th or 11th of 2019. He didn't tell us face to face that this kind of was his idea all along. And it took 3 weeks for us, the guys that have worked with him for 20 years, to find out. So yeah, I was pretty pissed, but I wasn't shocked or anything like that. Like, I've kind of been waiting on this moment, not waiting on it like, come on, please make it happen. But you could read the tea leaves. There was enough out there to know that he was not fully invested in it. But yeah, the actual last, I guess that, from December 10th into January 1st, when we found out, on that initial phone call, I was like, are you effing kidding me? But then I was okay after that. I mean, the guy's 70 years old and he can do whatever the hell he wants. It's his life. And, I'm not going to be working at 70. I don't want to be, at least. So, he did it a long time.
I don't know if I was mad. It was more shock. But then once we kind of got our head around how he did it and the fact that he did wait forever and he didn't tell us, and then all of the cryptic messages and the return songs that he played on his last day, it basically, I kind of just stood back and kind of gave him props, like, all right, typical Mike. I'm not surprised by this. And whatever anger there was, if there was any for me, it was very small. And it was because we were kind of put in a tough position to have to scramble to make this, to figure out something, because it was clear he wasn't coming back after the holidays. It was just the timing of it. It was like, really, dude, you're going to do this to us now? But it took maybe a day, if that,
Yeah,
to get past that.
And I never worried about the show per se. That wasn't the issue. It was all weird. It was just so, like Danny was saying, it was just an odd way to go about it. But he's a really weird guy. And to be honest, looking back at it a year later, it totally fits who he is. And so, just kind of the way it is. Shauna.
Cool. All right. Coming up next, we've got Thomas. Hey, Thomas. You're on mute.
Unmute yourself, Tommy.
There it is.
There you go.
Hello, guys.
Hey,
Hey, Thomas.
You can call me W. That's my nickname.
Hi, W.
I know there's a better W in the world, but
That's
I've gone by
arguable.
that for quite a while. So anyway, my question, I know y'all have talked about ad nauseum about how you're going to watch the Mavs and the Rangers and the Stars without having AT&T, which I think is a bad deal because it's a monopoly, in my opinion. Have you heard anything about getting a new app that's going to come out? I know they're changing their service to a different company, and we're hopefully that they'll offer an app that we can watch the different games with. Have y'all heard anything?
I mean, probably as much as you have, just little pieces here and there. I think that Cuban and the Mavericks are completely frustrated by this because they have no say or power in it whatsoever. So, they're just kind of waiting in purgatory like everybody else. And I don't know what the next domino is to fall, whether it's an app, whether it's Sinclair agrees with, these other internet providers or I guess streaming services, to pick things up. I would assume that's probably the first one to fall. And then the app will probably roll out after that, if it does at all. But man, there's no news on the horizon, which really, really sucks.
I do have something on this, if y'all don't mind, because I have a source deep within Fox Sports Southwest, and I talked to him about this a couple of weeks ago because I'm in the same boat. And there's two things that are kind of, all these things need a deadline. The next real deadline that's going to happen is April 1st, because you can't think about it just in terms of Dallas or Texas or whatever, because all these regional sports networks are just regional. But baseball is going to be the next big deadline that comes, because this will affect baseball and all those games and all that revenue all across the country for Sinclair. So that would be the next one to watch here in another 6 weeks or so. In terms of the app, he said the app is in the works, but that's not a 2021 solution. It's a 2022 solution. So that's way on down the road, unfortunately.
All right, guys, up next, we've got Kevin.
There, Kevin.
Hey, guys.
What's up?
Hi, Kev.
All right, can you hear me?
Yeah.
All right, hey, great. Hey, love the ticket. Love all the shows, the blend of sports, entertainment, culture, politics, I mean, it's just amazing. I listen to you guys all day. So love what y'all do. But my question is to you all, what we do in the shadows was a game changer. Thank you for that beautiful recommendation. So my question to you is, if the Hardline was in charge of a spinoff show, what would you all develop?
A spinoff of What We Do in the Shadows?
Yes. Would you include Jackie Daytona, Colin Robinson? What would y'all focus on as a spinoff show?
I would probably have to make sure that it's something based purely on Guillermo, because that's my dude. And whether we want to go prequel and kind of figure out how Guillermo got to Nandor and the gang, or if we want to see what Guillermo has planned for, I don't know. I assume something will be Guillermo based if it's up to me.
See, I don't know, Ty, if you agree with me, or Mino, but I have to keep. I got to keep Nandor in any spinoff, like Nandor goes to Florida or something like that, Like, I don't know, but I need him. I need him in that voice.
I feel like it'd be hard to just base it off of one person because you need everybody in that show. But I'd love a Jackie Daytona spinoff of him.
Yes.
Yeah.
Him coaching the girls volleyball team. You could make it like a sports spinoff of their struggles during the season, and he takes over. And there's really no wrong answer to this question. They would all be great.
Is Naja Doll in there somewhere?
Yeah, Najadal.
Yeah, Najadal.
All right, guys. Coming up, we've got
Thanks, Dad.
Carson.
Oh,
Sorry.
hello.
Whoa.
Can you guys see me?
Whoa.
Hey.
Yeah.
You're on a yacht.
Y'all are weird.
Awesome.
It's now.
I've been at sea for a long time and could use a haircut. My question is, are there any bits or ideas that have not made it to air? Whether because you had the idea and people said no, or you recorded it and couldn't get it to air? I'm just curious.
I know on my front, there's been a few that have made it to air that we wish wouldn't have made it to air. It may have resulted in a near suspension or firing, but
Yeah, that usually goes the forgiveness over permission, because I think maybe we've played something for Jeff that we knew was near impossible to get on the air, and he said no. But maybe that's happened like one or two times. So the most part, we just put it on and then deal with the fallout later. Wouldn't you
Yeah.
say, Corby?
I think so.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's a bad idea.
it's a great idea.
But I do like when you call me into this. I always like the setup. It's like, hey, I need you to come here and listen to this. And you call me into the control room, and I just know it's going to be ridiculous. But I want to see how ridiculous it actually is, because you just want to make y'all laugh. At me.
Right.
It's usually
play
I
this?
can't believe what Norm said this morning. Did you hear
Yeah,
it?
hey, you heard this? I need you to hear. Can we play this?
Yeah, it's always shoot first and ask questions later.
Mm-hmm.
All right, guys. Next up, we got Javier.
Hello, can you hear me now?
What's
I
up?
hear you.
First of all, sorry for the accent. I'm a Mexican P1, so this is not my first language.
Don't apologize for being Mexican.
Yeah.
Rego's not on the
We're
show
sorry
anymore.
for being white.
Javier, I just want to say I am one of you.
No, you're not.
No.
Now, Bob is the only one that can claim that.
Claro que sí, Javier.
So, thank you all for the last year. It was very tough on all of us. So the fact that we had a constant thing every day, it was like taking us back to normality. And thank you for all. And my question is related to the show's chemistry. How do you feel about it? Because comparing right now to 1 year ago, it wasn't bad, but nowadays it's awesome. I don't know, how do you feel about it? Thank you for all.
Yeah, man. Yeah, if you guys don't mind, I'll just go first here. I would just say chemistry is like trying to watch your kid grow or something. I mean, you can want them to be in third grade, a year after they're born. It just doesn't happen that way. And so, almost like growing a plant or something, it just takes time, and you get your reps in, and you get to know each other, and you like what you do, and you put hard work in, and it all takes care of itself. But obviously, comparing month one of guys who've never worked together, or we worked together for 6 weeks 20 years ago, is not ever going to measure up to year 20 of Mike and Corby having a conversation. So I think a lot of stuff has worked in our favor this year, oddly enough, including no sports and all that. But I just think time fixes a ton of things if you have dudes who are having fun and working hard together. And I think that's what we're all doing.
Yeah, I agree. It's just, again, I've said it a bunch, but it's not like that we got Bob off the turnip truck and none of us had ever met him before. I mean, we had a 20-year relationship with him too, just not doing it on a daily basis talking, but it's not like we never hung out or talked or anything like that. So we had a pretty good idea of what it was going to be like. But yeah, I think it took, I don't know. I think Danny and I are, you know, I think the whole show, I think Ty and I think we're all pretty easy to get along with, you know, like on a personal basis. And so that helps, and we're open to whatever, you know, from Bob's side. And then just, I think it took probably, I remember telling Bob it would be like May 1st before I thought I'd start feeling comfortable. And that was what, 3 months or something like that. And I think it was about a month into it where it literally after like 30 shows, I was like, okay, well, this is it. And this feels right. So, you know, it didn't take long at all.
I think the other key thing was getting you guys together in studio at whatever that point. We kind of had to skirt the COVID guidelines a little bit there.
Yep.
Because we just knew that was going to be because your internet sucks, Corby. But I think that also kind of helped speed that process along a little bit.
Agree.
Cool. All right. Edwin, we got you up now.
Hey guys, how's it going?
Hi, Edwin.
Hello, Edwin.
You guys doing pretty good?
We're kicking ass. How about you?
Doing pretty good.
Good.
So what's going on?
Not much.
Cool.
About that weather.
Yeah, you guys doing all right?
Yeah, it's cold.
Cool.
It's cold.
All right. Well, thank you guys for just doing this. It's been nice to actually see everyone, and I really didn't have a question I put. So, do you like your gig in the chat? But yeah, thanks for keep doing what you're doing. I really had nothing. I guess
I like your headphones.
Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate them. Shout out Microsoft. Thank you, work. But I guess if I had to ask a question, if you're forcing me to, do you think a station like this could start in a different market now with, you know, it being pretty saturated and with the origins of the ticket starting so early on in the talk radio space, you could say? Do you think another station like this could come up where everyone stays on there for a while?
No.
And yeah.
No way. Not a chance. This was 1 in a million, and it's right place, right time. And, you know, I mean, you hear that whether it's an individual or a business or a team or whatever, it just all seemed to work. And timing has a lot to do with it. And everybody is pretty lucky that, you know, they got in when they did, I think. But, you know, trying to replicate something like this in another market or here or wherever, I think it's damn near next to impossible.
I think that the longevity aspect of basically having a core of, you know, 5-6 guys that have remained together by and large 20, 25 years, I think that is really difficult, because I think you can find talent, and I'm not as conceited to say that there aren't Craig Millers and George Dunhams in other markets that are equally as talented. I think it's rare that you have that, but as far as creating something that's like this in another market, I think it could be done, but keeping it together for as long as this has been together, that's the hard part, because I mean, it's just like an NFL team. Your big talent's going to get poached, and it's going to end up getting watered down because guys are going to leave and take other deals. That's the unique thing about the ticket. Everybody's by and large stayed together.
Yeah, I mean, that's hard to do, but I think one of the keys, and this is before I got here, but you know, a lot of the dudes are in a similar spot in life, and they weren't necessarily looking to bounce city to city, and they also understood that it's not just about them, it's about kind of building a team and all that stuff. That's tough to replicate. I mean, you can put a bunch of guys together on a station, but you're going to have 12 dudes and 12 agendas, and you know, one of them's going to want to move to New York City, one's going to want to, you know, open their own company or something. And it's just like Danny said, just keeping the team together is the magical dumb luck of it all. And of course, then having a company that is willing to pay everybody, and just, you know, I mean, I'm positive you could give it a shot, but it's tough to get everybody on the same page for that long.
Yeah, man.
Agree.
Up next, we got Matt. Go ahead, Matt.
Good morning, boys. First of all, thanks for doing this and for putting a great show together day in, day out. And going back to one of the questions where Reiner exits studio left, and you all have to make a decision as far as who's going to take his spot and how you kind of mix things up. So I'm kind of curious, what was the rationale for saying, hey, we're moving Bob to the hard line as opposed to Jake or any other iteration that you could have possibly done? Was it personality driven? Was it something else that kind of caused it? I mean, maybe that's more posed for Cat or somebody else, but I'm just kind of curious if you could share kind of why that was and why the change was made the way it was.
What kind of sweet car you got there, man?
You know, I'm rocking the wife's Land Rover because my Miata's in the shop. So
Okay.
Miata.
I'll give Jeff credit because Jeff's the one that approached me first with, or not me first, but approached me with the idea of Bob, which I never thought of. You never think of that just because, I mean, it's almost like saying, what about Craig? You just don't, in my mind, I never thought about, hey, let's take a piece from another show and bring him in. So, you know, it was pretty outside the box thinking. And you know, I know Jeff had a million reasons why, but yeah, I mean, I was floored just because I could not see shaking up basically 2 day parts. But you know, it's worked out really well. So I don't know, Jeff, if that was your original idea, if that was you and Dan Bennett or what.
Well, I think, you know, we talked a little bit about this last year at Ticketstock too, and I think with the benefit of the hindsight, it's all worked out well, and that's great because normal conventional radio wisdom, like you said, is this is radio 101, is you don't mess up one day part to fix another. But I think just like everything else with the ticket, there's unique circumstances at play here. And I think one of them is the one that we've all mentioned is everybody gets along so well and everybody's been together so long that you can kind of throw some of those rules out the window. And we're going to have a much better chance at success fixing, quote unquote, afternoon drive with someone internal than going to get the most talented person from any other market in the country. And I think in terms of Bob, and this is, you know, Bob's heard me say this, and I'm sure you guys have too. When you take out the musers and just put them over to the side because morning drive is morning drive, and you looked at everybody else that was available for this particular role, it became very obvious to me then that Bob was the best fit for a number of reasons, and that's nothing against anybody else. That has to do with Bob and what his talents are and what he brings and what we're trying to accomplish with a show and trying to put together the pieces that are together are going to make the show better than what it is. And I think that's kind of where we are. And I also think when you look at the mention of Jake, everybody recognized, myself included, that Jake was ready to take a step and be a talk show host. But to put a guy like Bob, who has a 20-plus year history with Corby and Danny in Afternoon Drive, versus Jake, who has zero experience being a day-to-day talk show host and understanding what that takes, is a totally different thing. And so I think that was part of this too, is yes, Jake's ready to be a talk show host, but it's much easier to take that first step in middays than to replace Mike Reiner in Afternoon Drive for your first gig. And I think that was part of it too. But it really all started with looking at who was available and knowing what I had in Bob, or what we had in Bob, or whatever. And now I'm probably embarrassing you, Bob, but that was the basic process. And there was a lot of other reasons, but those are the big ones.
Yeah, and you know, I mean, from my standpoint, I think we talked about this a little bit last week on the air. It was just, you know, look, I love Dan and I love Jake, and those are my guys. And that's, I don't think their show has a bigger fan than me, but I'll also say that, you know, this station's done amazing things for me and my family, and they've really never asked a single thing of me. And so the idea of just being comfortable and you know, amenable to the idea that you know, we can keep the ticket as strong as possible post Mike Reiner, which is, you know, a very big deal, especially, you know, not just internally, but maybe even more so externally, because, you know, he's the Harry Carey of this operation, or the Ben Scully. And so you know, sometimes shuffle the deck a little bit, but again, the oddity of this place is we all know each other so well that I think you could have shuffled the deck in a number of ways, and it would have turned out quality radio. And I was flattered, I was challenged, but I was also comfortable that noon to 3 was going to be in great shape. So.
All right, up next we've got another Matt.
Awesome. Hey guys, as I was on with the Musers yesterday, and I told them I've been listening since I was in 6th grade and early 2000s. And anytime Corby made a bad joke or anything, just like them, I was telling them when I had to listen to y'all, I got to listen to y'all on the way home from school. My mom would hear Corby say something just like Gordon, she'd punch the radio off and just, no, we're not listening to that. But luckily, Dad let it roll, which was great. So based in Dallas and everything. But my question's for Danny, and it's for all the songs you've written for Super Bowl Bitch and the Stick It Up Your Tailpipe one. How long did those take? And can we please have that be like a once a quarter thing or whatever? Because every time I hear it, I'm sharing it with my friends. It's hilarious. They are awesome.
We're going for more like once every other week, not once a quarter. Let's set the bar.
Okay, yeah, once a week is fine with me. I just don't know how long it takes, but how did you come up with them? And yes, can we please have more of those songs because they are hilarious?
Yeah, Cat doesn't. He's stepping outside of what he knows is best, which is less is more, and in moderation. But yeah, if I did one a week, I think they would be watered down, and it wouldn't be as unique as it is. But I don't know. I think when the pressure's on, say it's the holidays or an event like the Super Bowl or White Elephant or whatever, you kind of have that expectation I need to produce something, and I'm not that funny, but I can create songs, and usually under the gun, I can put something together within an hour. I don't think the Super Bowl Bitch song was like, I don't know. I think I conceptualized that at work lyrically and wrote some lines down in breaks, and then sitting down at the studio and from start to finish, maybe an hour, 90 minutes is about all it took. But yeah, it's either that stuff comes from just inspiration out of nowhere where you have an idea and you just do it, or kind of seeing a little landmark along the way that's like, oh, I need to contribute to this, or this is a good idea for this, Super Bowl or whatever event that's correlating at the time. But yeah, if I just don't want to be just the music guy that, oh, here's a song a week, because trust me, probably 6 out of 10 of them, if I did it that way, maybe even more, would not be good. So.
Up next, we got John. Go ahead, John.
Morning, guys. Again, thank you for doing this. My question's for Corby, but I'm going to bring in David and Ty on this also. Corby and I were at TCU together and graduated right around the same time, and he probably remembers this. But
do you know this guy, Corby?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
I left right around September of '93 to go to work for a television station out in West Texas, which is probably when all of the Ticket was starting to come together. And I'd like for Corby to kind of go back on your timeline and just tell us how it evolved for where you wound up at the Ticket, and how that whole process played out from the first conversation to what you did when you first got there, and just kind of see how that has changed over the course of the years with David and Ty.
So when I left TCU, and because I was a history major there, and was like, there was nothing. I wanted to teach, and then I didn't want to teach, and then my roommate at the time was going up to North Texas to go to graduate school. So, and that's the guy that ended up marrying my sister. So he was my best friend, and so he was like, "Why don't you come up and start taking classes up there?" And I was like, all right, I'll take, and I didn't know what to do really. And so I ended up just kind of signing up for radio, TV, film classes, and went over to the radio station in North Texas, which is really well known. And I knew it was well known, and started taking classes. Then the Ticket started, and I was an instant fan of the Ticket. And I think I was covering a baseball game for the North Texas radio station.
Yeah.
And I saw Jeff, who was working at the station at the time, and we were talking. He was like, dude, why don't you come over here and get an internship? And so like the next day I drove over there and somehow, whatever, got an internship, and then kind of went from there.
It was like we were in one of those movies where we're in the meadow and we saw each other from across the meadow and we ran towards each other and embraced after not seeing each other for a few years.
Dude, I remember that though.
Oh, I
very
totally
well.
remember that too. Yeah, that's exactly my memory of it, 100%.
Yeah.
See, you looked at me and I was like, Corby, and you're like, Jeff, what? We hadn't seen each. I don't remember. So that must have been '94. So I probably hadn't seen you in several years since high school. Maybe we ran into each other in college at some point, but not much.
I remember seeing you at the bowling alley in Arlington, like one of the Christmas breaks of college, and you were about to get married. Because you got married at like 21, right? 22?
Yeah. The first time.
And I was like, what the hell? You're getting married?
Yeah.
What?
Why didn't you stop me? What kind of friend are you?
Right.
Not a good one.
No, exactly.
All right, up next we got Jeffrey, who's got a question for Ty.
Hey, fellas, how's it going?
Hey, what's up?
Hey, so for Ty, how do you see the WWE Elimination Chamber card panning out? And what
mute?
And what's your early prediction for WrestleMania, for the WrestleMania card? I think the whole crew should join you and do a review the following Monday after WrestleMania.
You want to buy it?
It's only $10 for the network.
$10. Times are tough at the WWF.
Ty, go on.
Ty?
Ty's
Unmute
muted
yourself,
himself.
Uh-oh.
Ty, you're muted, Bubba.
Can't hear him.
Turn your kids off, Ty.
There we go. Yes, I was. My kids were screaming, or my kid was screaming in the background. I can't imagine doing a preview show with any of the guys on the show. Maybe Bob. Bob is a wrestling cohort, but if I did anything, it would be with Jer. But yeah, that's TBD. So we'll see.
Wait, you got to give your prediction. He wants your prediction for WrestleMania.
Oh God, there's so many ways it could go. I just don't have time right now to break it down.
There's one way it can go, and everybody in wrestling knows which way it's going to go, right?
Who's the main event, or are you faking your way through that right
Is
now?
it Sergeant Slaughter?
No, it's not Sergeant Slaughter or Chris
Is it
Benoit
Kabuki?
or Kabuki or one of the Von Erichs. No, it'll probably be Roman Reigns versus somebody else.
Ah, Roman Reigns.
Where are the
There you
Freebirds
go.
and all this?
Yeah, the fabulous Freebirds.
Couple of them are dead. One is floating around somewhere.
Where's Michael Hayes?
Michael Hayes actually works for WWE now, but he's in no shape to wrestle.
Where's Cooper Von Erich and all this?
Well, he was the best of the Von Erichs. I don't know if he hasn't been signed by WWE yet. Oh boy.
All right, up next we got Adam. Go ahead, Adam.
Well, I originally had a Bob golf question, but I thought of another question that I've had for a while, and it's really more for Danny and Mino. For starters, Mino, can I see that back real quick?
Oh man, I haven't been blessed this week.
That's the good stuff.
Oh yeah.
But no, my question is, Corby or Bob or somebody will be telling a story, and you just kind of hear Danny from time to time give the little just in agreement. And I always wonder, is that Danny? Is that actually you, or Mino? You're so good at inserting Danny drops that I have no idea. And so how much of that is actually Danny and how much of that is Mino?
Whoa, wait. Hang on. Got a note on my phone. Breaking news to you, sir. Rush Limbaugh is dead at the age of 70.
I wasn't going to interrupt this Zoom with that news, but yes, my phone's been blowing up here for the last 10 minutes.
Yeah. Okay, Danny. Answer the question.
I think the drops, those are usually old Mike Reiner drops, right, David?
Yeah, if it's a reactionary drop of Danny being like cool or wow or it's usually a drop. Sometimes he'll do it, but if he says it once, I'll mark it down and I'll pull it as a drop. So I have a rotator I have a lot of Danny now, but when Mike was, I guess over a year ago, Yes. Those were usually Mike, and those would drive him insane. I think Mike was pretty cool with drops, but sometimes those would really get on his nerves. I need to work those in more. I haven't played Mike drops enough. But yeah, it's probably about 50-50 on it's either Danny or it's me. Kind of a big
I want to give Mino props because I've been laughing at this for like a week straight now because we were talking about Danny where I don't know, it maybe had been after Super Bowl bitch and about his, song catalog and all that. And I go, you really are the Bob Dylan of the ticket. And within a nanosecond, Mino fired off that bulla, 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 bama. And it was like the Bob Dylan of the ticket, his best line ever is bulla, 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 bama.
The least creative lyric ever. Just yeah.
All right. Next up, we got Brad.
Hey boys, thanks for doing this Zoom for us that listen quite a bit. Curious, with the last year with all the delays and this is really for everybody.
Doesn't Brad look like he's doing one of those little interviews in the office, like Jim?
I'm sitting. I'm sitting at.
Doesn't it?
This is Michael Scott's office.
Oh, it is. Okay.
This is Michael Scott's office. See, it's a quality Seiko timepiece right here.
I feel stupid.
Wow. That is awesome.
So now I was curious, of the major sports, with all the delays the last year, what is the sport that you were most okay with being delayed, that you really haven't kind of gotten back into a pattern of rewatching over the last year? What's the one that you were kind of okay giving up?
Did you say baseball?
Yeah. Was there a baseball season?
The Rangers.
I had a feeling.
The Rangers would be well served to try to get our attention back because we collectively seem to have moved on pretty well without them. And that's probably not what you would want to say right when you open your new stadium. So
yeah,
that's
my idea. My idea was for them to get Hank Aaron as their DH, and then that didn't work out for anybody. So
no.
And I think Rush Limbaugh was going to be the new GM, but then they gave it to Chris.
All right, we got Jonathan up.
Hey, Snake.
Yes, Jonathan.
You got me,
Jonathan.
Snake?
I got you, brother.
Do you remember when you worked for Bad Radio?
I do.
Did you kill Mike Reiner?
I did. Yes, I did.
Okay. No. So, hey, down in Austin, Danny, you told me about the Bacon song a few years back. Bacon is a frying. I was curious if there's any other stories like that have passed their time that you can now tell, or Bob, you alluded to telling some stories about when Mike transitioned, and if there's any details or behind the scenes, Danny talked a little bit about that transition, or is there anything that you haven't been able to tell, or any stories like that that come to mind? Maybe Ty and David, you're better to ask. Maybe some of the more salacious behind the scenes stories that you
Let me just say this first, that Country Cream, and that's what you're talking about with Bacon is a frying and or whatever, something's on the griddle. That is a very high point of my creative existence with Danny for sure. And we have been slandered because that was not received as the way that we intended. And I'm not happy about that still 15 years later.
Yeah, there was an awkward meeting though with Jeff and Dan Bennett.
So like,
you have any quotes from Dan from that meeting?
Go ahead, Corby. Hey.
Yeah. What
Look,
was
I'm
it?
all for pushing the envelope, but
Grandpa drinking a gallon of Grant whatever it was.
no, you didn't get it. That aired what, 3 times? It was on our
No, it
show.
aired once.
No.
Hardline.
It aired, but it was on. Were we doing a top 10 or a best of? 'Cause I think it aired on our
the next
show,
day.
and then the best of, and then the rant played it. And that's when the
The
guy
rant.
from the ice cream company heard it was on the rant and called and pulled like a $500,000 account.
Right.
And then Corby and I were in the office with Jeff and Dan, and it didn't go well because I thought I was going to get fired, because anytime you cost a company money, and especially that much, it was probably seriously, Jeff, what, $150,000 account?
Yeah, it was a big account. And it's kind of funny because I remember it's kind of related to these same things, but when I interviewed to be the PD of the ticket back in 2003, I had been there, of course, and I was in another market at the time. One of the things they kept asking me was, they were throwing all these scenarios at me, and they were all based on crap that had happened like in the years. What would you do if you had the Coors Light twins on one of the shows and then you made them mad and the client got mad? Because that's what Corby did, and I want to know how you're going to handle it. Or what would you do if the title sponsor of Ticketstock was American Tobacco, and then one of the hosts said something bad about Copenhagen like Dan McDowell did? These were all questions they were at, and I guess I answered them the right way, but we have a long history of stepping in it like this, I think.
Yeah, for sure. And you know what? Another thing about the Coors Light fiasco, that was not even me. That was Kevin Scott. Who called him a bad word on the air. And
well, to this day, you've got the collar that is around your neck to this day with Dan. He will not. Dan, and Bob knows this too. Dan Bennett will not let certain things go. You and the Coors Light twins are one. Dan McDowell's inability to drive to get to work in snow is another. To this day, 25 years later.
Oh man, good times.
All right, guys. Up next, we've got Jacob.
Hi. It's actually my question, but we're on his computer. But I just first want to thank you guys for what you do. He actually got me hooked because he's from Dallas and I'm from Chicago. So I want to thank
Way to go, Jacob.
Especially.
It was my duty as a kid to make sure I got a girlfriend who loved the ticket. So
nice.
He just had to introduce me to it. So this was a while back, but I want to thank y'all especially for any Chicago ties that you guys make. The Len Casper interview was really cool for me, especially. But my question is unrelated to sports, actually, because I know you guys kept really steady doing your Mandalorian reviews. And I may have just been missing it because I don't get the opportunity to listen every single day, like for the whole time. But where are the WandaVision reviews?
We haven't started watching it yet.
Haven't dipped in yet.
Are y'all watching it? I'm watching it.
I've watched it all.
Is it
Have you
good?
watched it all time?
I've watched the whole thing.
I'm one episode behind right now. I think it's good. I like it. I like the concept of it. But to me, it's kind of like The Watchmen. Like, I really like The Watchmen, but it'd been 20 years since I read the graphic novel. And it's kind of like I've seen all these Marvel movies, but I've seen them all one time. I don't know them in and out. And so I feel like the show it's not for me. Like, the surface level, it's okay, but I don't catch all the references that are happening. To me, they seem so deep that I don't get them all.
The thing that I have to do after every episode is go to the internet, because you've got all the nerds that break it down and find all the Easter eggs. And that's how I've kind of, after every episode, have kind of gotten up to speed with all the stuff, like you said, Jeff, that's in the comic books and way deep stuff.
See, that's what I don't like. And I know we've talked about this on the air. I don't like watching a show and then having to go read about the show for an hour before I understand it. Like, I spend more time trying to learn about the show than actually watching it. I just need it to be dumbed down. There's a Jedi and there's a Grogu, and and
Sword.
Yeah.
I've never even heard of this show until just now.
I mean,
Disney Plus.
It seems like a big deal out there, but I don't know. I mean, I'll put work into it if I'm really genuinely into it, but I think that might be limited to the Star Wars universe in the Mandalorian's case versus the Marvel universe, which, a lot going on there, but I don't care as much.
All right, guys. Up next, we've got Colby.
Hey, guys.
Hi,
Colby. I was in Texas for a lot of years, picked you guys up about 98, and then now I live in the Pac Northwest. We moved up here. I work for Dr. Pepper, so I work for the Pepsi guys up here in the Northwest now, but have always stayed with you guys online. So I don't miss a day without listening to Musers. You guys, Bob and Dan, back in the day when you guys were midday, of course, Norm and Donnie. and then you guys in the Hardline. Love you guys. So love all the stuff you've been doing over the past 25 plus years. But my question was around, you guys see yourselves staying down there in Texas? I know, Corby, you talk about when you guys go out to California for, training camp, and when you go visit your sister in Colorado, how great it is in all these other parts of the country. You guys see yourselves staying in Texas after things are all said and done? And you feel like you're going the norm route with your careers, or maybe the Mike route where you kind of get out and go do some other stuff with some hobbies?
Well, Bob and I are locked in for 25 years, so we'll be working together until we're 75 years old. No, I mean, I've made it clear and that I will not stay in Texas when I'm done working here. I don't hate it here or anything. I just want to go somewhere else. I've been here basically my whole life, and yeah, I'd like to go to Colorado or California or somewhere different, a little different landscaping, I guess. But yeah, I have no problems with it here, but I want to go somewhere else.
Yeah, that's same here. You know, I really enjoyed it here way more than Wisconsin, but I kind of want to keep getting further and further away from winter. This week is only hardening my resolve on that front. And, you know, I mean, technology keeps changing. I realize radio has traditional location ideas and that model still exists, but it does feel like this last year has allowed us all to realize that the concept of an office may not be quite as present tense as we all thought it was. So who knows? But yeah, looking forward to not working 3 jobs at some point, but it'll be a while for sure.
Danny, Mino, and Ty, what about y'all?
East Dallas till I die, yo. No, I'm not moving.
I'm stuck in DFW with that, whether I'm working or not.
Yeah, when I retire 50 years from now, I'll still probably be here.
Plenty of room in Wisconsin, guys. If you want. Just saying.
All right, up next, we had somebody up and they just jumped. While I pull somebody else up, we had somebody pre-submit a question. The title of the email was Psychedelics. Have you or would you guys ever trip together?
Yeah.
Like now?
Let's do it.
Today?
Yeah. Why not? I'm open to anything now at the age of 50.
Should start doing cocaine now. Like Ron Washington.
That's right.
I'm not open to that. I'm open to other things though.
Puss.
Oh.
All right. Up next, we got Caleb.
Hey guys, I appreciate you doing this and kind of getting us through all these weird times. A couple of things. First off, Danny, you did a segment about the worst places to do takeout about a year ago, and my 7-year-old, my 7-year-old still asked to listen to that audio, so I have to sometimes go back to the ticket. It's crazy. I don't understand it, but thank you for that. I guess my question is, you know, I know y'all get a bunch of feedback on Twitter, people calling you stupid and whatnot. Do you ever get that in your personal relationships? Mainly, I guess, Bob, you know, you're very opinionated over the summer with some of your thoughts on the Black Lives Matter movements and, you know, the religious repercussions of that. And so just wondering if you got any feedback one way and maybe your religious community and then, you know, to anybody. So.
Yeah, absolutely. This, you know, this is one of those years where you kind of figure out, you know, how important things are to you and how interested you are in saying something from a platform that might make, you know, people uncomfortable, and you got to pick your spots and it's got to be sincere. But yeah, absolutely. It's been a year where you find out, you know, how interested you are in trying to sort through some things. And yeah, it's been a landmine. And you know, that goes all the way back to you know, my specific family I grew up with. So happy 2021, everybody. It's been great.
Massive credit to you though for going out on that ledge, you know, knowing that you knew full well what was going to come back your way, and you stood up for what you felt was right, and that's hard to do, and that was pretty badass.
All right, guys. Up next, we've got Brent.
Hey guys, appreciate all y'all do. I wanted to ask Mino if there was a way for to do a F around show with Jer, maybe about like some drops and like the history of the drops, and get a couple of you know, hosts on there to talk about the history of that.
Yeah, we've talked about that a couple times. I think it was the Ticketstock before last where we had the round table. Me, Jer, I think Groobs might have been in there, but just talking about how we play drops and, you know, the history of drops and stuff. I'd be down for it. I'd like it to be post-pandemic when we can be together, and, you know, I like to take calls and stuff. I get that question a lot of like, how do we do it and how do we play it? How do we play drops and everything? And it's kind of complicated to explain, but it's easier than it sounds. Like, we really just have a screen that we have stuff loaded on that we play. But yeah, I'd be down to do stuff like that. I think it'd be really funny. Sometime in the future when we can get Jer and, you know, just all the board ops of drops past, of get Groobs up there and Psycho
Expo.
Dave, Expo. Yeah, just I thought that was a really interesting roundtable we had a couple of years ago of, you know, the generations of board ops.
I agree.
There haven't been that many, man.
Yeah.
Which is almost more surprising than the fact that the hosts have stayed together.
It really is.
Wouldn't you say that, Jeff? I mean, as far as the
Yeah.
turnaround, as far as technical directors go, typically in this business,
It used to be like 3 to 4 or 5 years max, and the people were done. They would leave. And, you know, Jared's been, I've lost track of how long Jared's been on Northern Drive. I mean, maybe 15 or 18 years now on that shift. We had a few before him, but I mean, yeah, let's put it this way. We've had a hell of a lot more ticket promotions directors than we've had board ops.
Oh, yeah.
No
sure.
doubt.
So thanks, Travis. We love you.
Yeah.
You're next, Travis. I mean, we love you.
All right, guys,
All right.
I gotta run. I gotta play some fart drops.
All right.
Bye, David.
Bye, David.
See you guys.
See you in a little bit.
I've got a question from Linda, who doesn't want to be on audio or video right now. Do your wives or girlfriends get annoyed when y'all go to the Super Bowl or training camp for work? Because essentially it's like a guy's vacation.
Is it?
Like California for sure, because we go to California in the dead of summer and we're there for 2 weeks, and they know it's 72 degrees every day and they're miserable here. And yes, they won't, she's not vocal about it, but I pay the price when I come home. There are more duties for me after 2 weeks out there.
She likes driving that Lexus, though, right?
Yeah, bro, she loves the Lexus.
That's right. Just don't forget to remind her of that.
That's right.
It would probably be better if we could downplay California a little better, but we.
Look at Mark's bit. Mark put himself in Cat's music studio.
How did he do that?
That's what happens when you step away from the screen.
Yeah, that's right. I had to go take my phone call about Rush Limbaugh.
That is
awesome.
so wild.
Oh my screen! But I'll Venmo you some cash, bro, if you can just name any posters besides Jimi Hendrix that have been behind me this whole time, because that's the obvious one. Mr. Fancy Pants Mark.
What a dick.
I don't know. I wasn't prepared for that question. I thought I was asking a
You don't have
question.
to take questions, Mark. You just have to give a question.
Yeah, so I'm sorry Mino had to leave, but my question was, what drop do you wish that he would never play again?
For me, it is, I went to TCU and I've been surrounded by hot women my entire life. That one gets me.
Yeah, and to be fair, I could probably live without what are you, a cowboy, Mickey, or can I stick my tongue down your throat? Those are probably my two.
It's Flask for me, no question.
I love now
No question.
when Flask in My Car gets played, because it takes like one word and Danny's like, God bless you. You almost say like, you almost cuss every time.
Every
In
time.
fairness, I would say to all of us, all of our least favorites are the favorites of the others. And so that's why nothing ever changes, because
Yeah.
we, I think, enjoy others hating their drops.
Right. Right.
All right, up next we got Raphael.
Who's drinking a gallon of milk?
Hydrating. Gotta stay hydrated.
It's my Cesaro.
What are you, in Houston?
What's up, guys? Long time P1, long time soda P1, and
Yeah.
How much weight you lost?
I've lost about 55 pounds.
Whoa!
Right on, man.
There you go. Congrats.
But what's funny is the first time I'm a second timer, so the first time I did it, I lost 80 pounds, and then I gained it back. But now I'm trying to lose it again. So there's that.
It's not supposed to happen that way.
No, it's not. It's not. Believe me, I know. My wife tells me that all the time. So
Food is delicious. I mean, what are we
anyways, my question is, what are some interviews you've had where you felt that you learned a lot about that guest that you didn't know about, or maybe you felt it was really awesome to see them in studio? And what are some guests that you feel you still haven't gotten yet that you'd like to get? Maybe like a Rush Limbaugh.
Well, sir, that's going to be a tough one.
Why?
You know what? I'm not kidding. I learned he's dead. I learned more. Bob and Dan had Harrison Barnes on, what was that, 2 years ago, maybe a year and a half, something like that. I thought he was like the best interview I've ever heard on the radio station. Like, that guy was super thoughtful in every single thing that he said. And I don't know, I thought that guy was incredible, and it was kind of a bummer. I was kind of glad from a basketball standpoint to leave him, but that guy is like a treasure in the media. You know, he's really, really good.
Yeah, man, there's been just so many. I'll tell you, I'll go all the way back. I remember where I was on Dallas's roads the first time I heard Gabe Kapler do an interview, and it wasn't with us. I want to say it might have been on the really old KRLD 1080. They, you know, when I first got to town, they did the Juan Gonzalez trade for Cap, and he was on with, I don't know, some off-season, you know, hot stove Rangers show, and I heard him, and I remember thinking that day that we've got to get him on, and really, I mean, he's a brilliant dude. I talked to him over the weekend because of that Drew Robinson thing we haven't talked about on the air yet. Gabe's his manager now with the San Francisco Giants. I mean, at least at spring training, and I just think that dude is one of a kind. So that'd probably be mine.
Cool. All right, guys, we got time for one more. So let's go to Nathan.
Unmute, Nathan.
Unmute. Unmute.
Unmute, Nathan.
Nathan, can't hear you.
Nathan, we can't hear you.
Ears.
Unmute.
Nathan. Dogs. Okay.
Unmute.
Turn mic on.
3.
I think they're having
One of those dogs is in the IT department.
Nathan?
So it looks
there
like, so it looks like they're unmuted, but for some reason we still can't hear them. But I can give you, it looks like basically the question was asking, because we're due with a baby in a week and still haven't picked a name, what should they go with?
It's a tough one.
Nandor.
Yeah.
Nandor's a good choice.
Nandor if it's a dude, Nadja if it's a, there you go.
How about Stubby? Good solid name. Stubby.
Congratulations, though.
Yeah.
I would say Rudiger.
Stubby Rudiger Davidson.
Yes.
Nandor Jr.
And with that, it looks like we are out of time.
Oh, man.
Y'all have any parting commentary or things that you want to say? Fire away.
We love you
No.
guys, and
Yeah.
we'll do a ticket stock again soon. And please send me Jeff's background because I would like that too for all future Zoom calls.
Yeah, thanks for the for the participation. That was fun.
Let's do it again tomorrow at the same time.
Same time, same bat channel.
Mm-hmm. Tune in what 3 hours for the Hardline. It's going to be amazing.
Yeah.
All right, have sex, everybody.
What's
All
that?
right.
What?
Thanks, guys.
All right.